Hello everyone, here's a look at our Nintendo Switch collection as of January 2022, a collection that keeps on growing. There's still plenty of games we want for the system and plenty coming out in the coming year as well, plus I hope a few surprises, so one that we will be doing every January for the foreseeable future because it's a system we both use and love, which is a rarity for us. Usually most of the systems are Amanda likes it more than I do, or I like it more than her, but the Switch we both like. We have our original model from 2017 with the dock, which I keep in my Splatoon 2 case, and then Amanda's Switch Lite that she just got this year in her Legend of Zelda carrying case. Looks like Ocarina of Time. And then the controllers that we have two of these wired controllers. This is the first one that we got not long after the system launched. The Super Mario Odyssey. I actually really like the design of that controller. Used that a lot. A plain black one. And now the controller that once I was able to get my hands on one finally, I use pretty exclusively. If I'm not playing the Switch in handheld mode, I am using this controller all the time. The Switch Pro controller, the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 limited edition version of that. Love the Pro controller. This Pro controller and the Wii U Pro controller are amongst my favorite Nintendo controllers, like up there with the GameCube. Really good controllers to use. Now getting into the games, we have Animal Crossing's New Horizons, the most recent game that Amanda played, Cafe Enchanted, or Cafe Enchante, as she likes to call it. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, still one of the best games ever. Really wish we would get a sequel, but I doubt we ever will. Love that one on the Wii U as well. From First Press Games, Castle of Heart, this limited edition that Amanda got a while ago. She seemed to really enjoy that game. Catherine Full Body, another game that I highly recommend. Really fun storytelling, even if you're not into the puzzle elements, but that is also fantastic. Crash Team Racing, Nitro Fueled. Still prefer the original version on PS1. There are a few differences in this and the way it controls, but there's a lot of great stuff in this, and I really enjoy being able to play that game with a new coat of paint and on the go as well. And speaking of Crash, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. PS1 was my favorite system growing up, third system I ever owned, and these of course were a staple. Some more classic games. Doom, the Classics Collection with Doom 1, 2, and 3. Dragon Quest XI Definitive Edition. This game is amazing. This blew me away. The demo was longer than half the games that are already in this pile over here, and completely sold me on the game, and it very quickly became my favorite game in the entire series, finally eclipsing Dragon Quest VIII, which was my favorite. Amazing game. Definitely one of the few Dragon Quests that I will come back to as the years go on. Great game, and I think the future is bright for that series. Next are a few that I'm very happy came out. We have had to import this from PlayAsia, Final Fantasy 7 and 8 Twin Pack. Great to get these together physically on a cartridge. Very happy. That includes Final Fantasy 7 and the remastered version of Final Fantasy 8. Both classic games that I've always loved. Both are in my top 10 ever. The one thing that was missing that I was a little worried might not get the same treatment, but thankfully it did. It got its own standalone release, my favorite Final Fantasy game, and I can't imagine anything topping it. Final Fantasy IX for the Nintendo Switch. Amazing game. Nice to have it physically on the Switch. Final Fantasy X and X-2. Now we're still looking for Final Fantasy XII, and I played that on PS2 many years ago. We have it on PS4. Haven't grabbed that yet, so it's another one that's still on our list. Hoa, one of Amanda's games. Don't know a whole lot about that one. This, I was very excited. I think I was in the minority. I don't think there were that many people that were over the moon excited when this was announced. Mr. Driller Drill Land, physical copy for the Nintendo Switch. This was originally a GameCube game. I really like Mr. Driller, and I've been eyeing the original version of this game for years. I've actually thought about importing an entire GameCube and the game just to play it, and I never bothered to do it, and finally we have it on the Nintendo Switch, one of the greatest puzzle games ever made. And we finally got a new Pokemon Snap on the Nintendo Switch. This game should have been on the Wii U. It would have been great on the Wii. First game was a huge success on the N64 and a great game. Can't believe we didn't get this on the Wii U, but we finally got it on the Nintendo Switch, and it did not disappoint. Really great game. Enjoyed that. Definitely worth the wait. Kept the spirit of the original and added a whole lot more. I'm not a huge Pokemon person, so Nintendo Switch was something a little different and intrigued me, and that was my favorite Pokemon game overall, just because, I don't really play the Pokemon series, but this is now my favorite Pokemon game. Another one that Amanda just got recently. I don't know if she's played this one yet, but the Ori collection. Panzer Dragoon remake. This is awesome. This is what I want to see happen to a lot of Sega games, a lot that I know probably this will never happen for, but this is amazing. Having played it originally on the Sega Saturn, enjoyed this. I like the series a whole lot. I'm glad number 2 is coming out, and House of Dead 1 and 2. Just brilliant. Saga is pretty much guaranteed not to happen, but at least we can get 1 and 2. Now, if only we could get Skies of Arcadia. Splatoon 2. I liked the first Splatoon on the Wii U, enjoyed this as well. The big thing for me is that I don't play games online, ever, and this one in particular, especially with the additional content as things went on, this is really focused on the online play and the multiplayer and that kind of stuff, and as much as I enjoy Splatoon 1 and 2 and I love the concept, Splatoon 3, if I get it, it would have to either have a more robust single-player campaign or have better local co-op where you don't need 2 complete systems and 2 copies of the game, that type of thing. With the Wii U, you could play just 1 person on the pad, 1 on a Pro Controller, but you could only play certain modes, so that was kind of limiting, so I really like Splatoon 2, but if I get 3, it'll have to expand in one of those 2 areas. Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection. Great collection. Really enjoyed this. Mario 64 is a staple of the system. Super Mario Sunshine I never really got into on the GameCube, and I had never played Galaxy, even though I had a Wii. So this was a great collection for us. And, Amanda, the N64 was her big childhood system. She really enjoyed it, and she's like, I'll never go back probably and play it, because she'll play this version. Sunshine is great, and Galaxy is awesome. That's definitely one of my favorite Mario games now. That was a lot of fun. Very happy to have that collection. But what is now my all-time favorite Mario game, one of the first games we got for the system, Super Mario Odyssey. My favorite game in the series was Super Mario 3, since the NES, since I was a little kid, and that never changed until this. This completely annihilated any other Mario game for me. This is my favorite by far. I really hope we get another one. One of my favorite Tales games, which in North America was a 360 exclusive, finally came to other systems, and Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition, being able to play this on the Nintendo Switch, being able to play it with the Pro Controller up on the projector that we have downstairs, or being able to play it portably is amazing. First time I played through this, I played through portably. I think we were living at Amanda's parents' house at that time, and was playing that, and great game, really enjoy it, and a fantastic version. One of the most underrated JRPGs ever, which I cannot believe failed sales-wise twice. I really thought with the second chance this game was going to take off, and we're never going to get a sequel or anything now, and it's really too bad. But Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore, great game. Loved this on the Wii U, and it's just as good on the Switch. Amazing. Either copy, depending on what system you have. Grab it while you can. I feel like this is going to go up in price and become a little more rare in the future because it didn't do well. And I really thought it was going to, given a second chance, because when the Wii U version came out, it did poorly, I think mostly because it's not what people were expecting through the collaboration of SMT and Fire Emblem. It's very different from what the original teaser trailer kind of hinted at, and it's awesome. It's really great. It's this beautiful, colorful game with an amazing combat system. It's actually one of my favorites. I actually enjoy the combat by itself, just that part of the game in isolation more than Persona 5, which is super popular. And just overall as a game, I actually prefer this to Persona 5. Persona 3 or 4 I like more than this, but yeah, this is like right up there with some of the best from Atlus. It's actually really, really good. I really think that people should give this a shot. It's a great game, and I'm sad that this will probably be the end. Valkyria Chronicles 4, the first game in this series that I've ever played, and I really enjoyed it. Here it's very similar to the first game. This is a fun strategy RPG. Great story. I really enjoyed the story and the cast, and I thought it was a lot of fun to play. The only thing that I would like to see improved is a lot of times the strategy part boiled down to the same tactic over and over again for a lot of scenarios. So I'd like to see a slightly more complicated, I guess, version of this with a 5, but really, really enjoyed that game. The truly definitive edition of my favorite game of all time. This plowed past everything when I first played it on the Nintendo Wii, even more than, it even toppled Xenogears and Xenosaga Episode 1, which were up there in Final Fantasy IX. Those were all my top guys, and one game on the Wii surpassed all of them, and now we have the perfected version. It is even better, more fun to play. Looks gorgeous. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, plus you get the extra content as well. It's amazing to be able to continue with a new mini adventure with Shulk. Just amazing. My favorite game of all time. And one of the few big limited edition collections that we have, Xenoblade Chronicles. And the first game we ever got for the system, the reason why we bought the system as early as we did, normally I wait till a few years in to a system's lifespan to buy it, but I could not wait, had to pre-order the limited edition of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and grab the system. Like, that is the single reason why we got it the year that we did, was because this came out. Great. Not as good story-wise as the original game. There are a few very anime cliche kind of cringy moments in some of the writing and some of the acting, but overall a very fantastic game. Amazing world to explore. I do really like a lot of the cast and characters and the way the story builds up over time, and I think it's one of the most brilliant ways to explore giant open environments. A lot of fun, tons of puzzles, really makes you want to revisit environments, and it's just great. A really, really fun game. Again, not quite as good as the first one, but... And then, very unexpectedly, especially like a physical and like how much there is to this expansion, a prequel to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which addressed everything that I thought was imperfect in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I love it. It's one of my favorite games of all time, but there were a few things that were kind of disappointing in some of the storytelling compared to the first game, and that was taken care of with Torna the Golden Country. Not only that, I loved the combat in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and this managed to improve it. This, I think, is even better than the combat system in the original Xenoblade, my favorite game of all time. I think this nailed it, and I really enjoyed the main character in this much more, and just overall, I think this was, in terms of the tone and the writing and the gameplay, even a better experience than Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Of course, it's a mini adventure, but even that is longer than half the other games here. Amazing. I loved Torna. It really showed that they could do amazing things with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm looking forward to when that finally comes out. I think it's going to be incredible. Before then, though, we really need X on the Switch. It's missing on here. Yoku's Island Express. One of Amanda's games, she said, was kind of a pinball slash platformer. Looked pretty interesting and curious. And the most recent game that I played, and the last one in our collection so far, We have Yoshi's Crafted World. Amanda got me this for Christmas this year. I played Woolly World on the Wii U, and so I was very excited because I enjoyed that game to play this. Woolly World's a little bit better, but overall this is still a lot of fun, and it's just cute, colorful, looks fantastic. When you're on something that's like paper, it looks like paper. It just looks great. It's a lot of fun to play, and just like Woolly World, it has that perfect balance of, and same thing with a Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which is in there as well. It's very easy to go through, do the minimum, and get to the ending and just kind of beat it. So it's a nice, casual, fun game when you just kind of want to relax. But then there are a huge number of puzzles and hidden items and all these different challenges that can be a lot more challenging. There are some in here that are really difficult, and some bonus levels at the end of the game that you need a whole bunch more the flowers to get to. So it's that perfect mix where you can just have fun and enjoy and relax and laugh and smile and play your way through this game. And if you really want to go back and do more, or you want some extra challenges, that's in there as well. So it works for every crowd and has a lot of replayability because of that. So that is a look at our Nintendo Switch collection so far, January 2022. And I guarantee it's going to be even bigger next January, because there are already a handful of titles we know coming this year that I want, and a whole bunch of that I hope make it to the system this year. So Nintendo Switch, we're both really enjoying it. It's the best of both worlds between Nintendo handhelds and Nintendo consoles. I was always more of a Sony and Sega guy, but right now the Nintendo Switch is my favorite current system.